So, what's the point of this? Huh? Um, the 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 platform to talk and to talk to nobody. Nobody's listening. No one cares. And that's fine. That's okay. But just the possibility of talking and not talking to someone. This is the curious part. Um, I don't want to talk about that. I'm thinking. I was listening to a Brazilian artist that I don't want to say the name. A musician, a really particular one, different one, and he was talking about trilogy and contradiction. And contradiction is contradiction. I don't want to get in the problematics of contradiction. I just want to accept it. And as someone that studies Heraclitus or Heraclitus, I don't know the pronunciation. I have some opinions on on contradiction. I think so, but I don't I don't want to express it here because as soon as you get into theory and the complexities of contradiction, I think it loses it meanings, loses something, because contradiction by itself is contradictory. I don't know if this is the right pronunciation, but I think I'm making myself clear. And the true essence of the contradiction is that the contradiction itself is a contradiction, and also it's not a contradiction, and at the same time is and is not a contradiction. So we can say that contradiction is contradiction, and we also can say that contradiction is not contradiction. And at the same time, we can say that it's not the case that contradiction and no contradiction is contradiction. There's the quadruple proposition. I don't know the exact name. That is famous in, I think, Hinduism or in Buddhism. I don't remember, but we can find it in Piro, known as the static or the skeptic. Yeah, the skeptic philosopher, ancient Greek philosopher. And there's the idea that X or something is true. Yeah. Something is not true. Something is and is not true. And it is not the case that something is and it's not true. And all of that are at the same time. This is the point of contradiction. Is that even though we can think of them in an exclusion matter, so it's one of that options, we can also think it's an inclusion. So all of that things are at the same time and are not. I don't want to convince nobody. I'm just talking about, and I don't want to explain too much because there's no ways of explaining. And there's no explanation, to be honest. Contradiction simply is like being, you know, the Sein in German, as Heidegger likes to express. This is, you know, the beginning of the being and time. It is that the name in English? Maybe, I don't know. Being and time, or to be and time. Maybe, I don't know. I think it's being and time, and that's the idea of the being. it, it's always being. um, and everything that we have is at some aspect everything. Not that we have everything. It's at some aspect, at some point, passes through that, through the notion of being. Everything is, and at the same time, nothing is true. Um, so the contradiction by itself, has something to do with that. The it's we we were structured, or um, we learned that a thing cannot be and not be at the same time, and for us, I think we were conditioned to think that it's easier to imagine things as this dual, and this duality, this opposition of being or not being, and this exclusion way of thinking. So if one thing is, the other cannot be. Like, it rains, or it it doesn't rain, or it's not raining. Yeah. So there's no between. There's no other thing. It is, or it is not. It isn't. And for us to deconstruct that is something really hard. I don't think that this necessarily works in the rational way or in a conscious matter. So it's not a intellectual exercise. I think it can be an intellectual exercise, but after living, or being the contradiction, after understanding the essence of being the a, a contradiction. When you live a contradiction, as everybody lives, but nobody, or almost nobody, can really grasp, as Heraclitus says, you know, even though the logos, and he says about logos, but and also the logos, the things that Heraclitus is saying, has something to do with contradiction as well. Like, even though contradiction is something that we all deal with every time, every day, every moment, every second, every moment, we cannot grasp it. We cannot understand. We fail to see that. And of course, there's a lot of other things that we fail to see that are implicit in this fragment of Heraclitus. But the thing is, contradiction, it's one of them. We fail to see that things are pure contradiction. Everything is pure contradiction. And then there's Aristotle trying to like systematize it. No. Of course, Aristotle is not that systematic that we learned that he is, but I think if we read carefully, and with in a thoughtful manner, his writings, we can see that he's not that systematic. He contradicts himself all the time, and it's more like an oh, sorry, okay. So it's more like an exposition on a exposition. He's showing different ways of thought, of thinking, different ways of seeing the world and trying to describe it in in its complexity. This is the essence of Aristotle's thought. He's trying to show, to describe all of the aspects of the beings of life, of being. And this is so difficult to do, and he tried to do that in language. So the thing that we can understand by with Aristotle is that he's limited by the Greek language, because his way of talking about things is it's just common sense in some way. He's just saying the things that he can say, and being limited by ancient Greek. Um, that's marvelous. He does not ignore contradiction. He accepts contradiction, and he tries to talk and to put into language the contradiction. This is the point. Of course, putting into language, symbolizing it. Um, um, you you are at the same time giving it some meaning. So you're giving a meaning to something at the same time that you're symbolizing it. You're limiting the contradiction to a construction or a structural words, and some syntactic form, and also semantic form, because this is also really complex, because the semantic, talking about semantics is way contradictory. Oh my god, this is some difficult words to talk in English. I don't know. I was just thinking about that, and how contradiction is it's good. You know, we live for that. I live that. I live contradiction. My feelings, everything, it's contradictory. This is the hard part of being. It's dealing and living in contradiction.